Right, back with some more sparring footage. So Lucas is a blue belt, 4-stripe blue belt, and then I had a round with Luke, who's also a purple belt. Lucas I've rolled with a few times, incredibly nice guy, very, very good, always very busy and hard to sort of pass his guard and constantly keeps you thinking. And Luke is just an absolute beast, so you'll see that when we get into the footage, and you'll see that I don't get much of my own game going, but it's all part and parcel. So without further ado, let's get into Lucas, and then shortly after that, I'll show you my round with Luke. So here we go. Here's Lucas. So as you can see, he's a blue belt with 4 stripes. I politely ask him not to embarrass me on YouTube, but he seems to think I'm going to embarrass him, but hardly think that's possible. So Lucas pulls guard. Lucas normally pulls me into his guard, but obviously trying something new this time round. Watch his hooks with his feet when he's on the floor. Incredibly powerful, really. Don't look like much, but once he's got them round your ankle, you can't get them off. So a little bit of grip fighting now, trying to establish a grip, trying to get something on the collar, really, ideally. But here we go. Here's Lucas, pulls me into pretty much half guard with a little butterfly there on his right leg. And those hooks maybe don't look like much, but when you're in there, if you watch his feet, you'll see how much he hooks them round and controls my lower limbs, and then he's obviously controlling my posture with his arms. Incredibly tough to sort of get past the knee initially, and ultimately you can't go through the frames, you need to go round them, but when you're in this situation, you tend to forget that, or certainly I do at my stage. So sort of take a little bit of a rest here, a little bit of a pit stop, and sort of reset myself and try and get a bit of composure, relax, pace myself. You can see the clock just past the white post, so it's a 5-minute round, and it can be quite a long time, 5 minutes, believe it or not. It's incredibly tough and demanding sport. So Lucas has got his right hand in my collar, so he's always threatening the cross collar choke, and I'm trying to pin his other arm to the floor so he can't get both hands in and choke me, which, as I'm defending and I'm pinning that one arm to the floor, it's very hard for me to break the grip with his other arm or hook a leg off and try and get the guard open a little bit. So it's incredibly frustrating at times. And Luke is incredibly strong. Again, here you go, he's going for the grip inside the collar, and then proceeds to get another knee in front of me and him. So again, I've got to try and pass the knee. I'm just trying to get to an advancement of one bit, even past the knee initially, and then I can stop there, regroup, and then maybe go again. But Lucas is always so busy, whether he's on top, whether he's on the bottom. Normally when he sweeps me and he ends up on top, he normally submits me. He submitted me 2 or 3 times. But you see his hook there. You just see his hook hooking me constantly, off balancing me. If the wall wasn't there, he probably would have swept me in that occasion. And at this point, I'm almost thinking, well, I'll take a sweep to try and get my own game off. So I managed to stand up, and I'm not particularly bothered if I get swept, to be honest, because then I feel like I can attack more from my guard. So I establish a good grip on the collar, try and get the sleeve. Again, Lucas putting incredible pressure on me, and we're halfway through the round, so it's getting tough at this point. Again, I'm just trying to get some sort of frame in front of him to relieve a bit of pressure on me, but he's always so busy, always keeping you thinking, keeping you guessing. So I managed to establish a bit of a foot on the hip, and eventually I don't have much joy, so I end up trying to pull him right into my guard to almost reset myself and reanalyze how I'm going to tackle him, basically. So there we go. I re-guard, and I just think, right, how am I going to attack this now? What am I going to do? How am I going to try and sweep him or submit him from here, which is going to be incredibly difficult because he's so good. I think he weighs about 100 kilos. I'm about 88 now. But again, I'm trying to just establish some sort of control, but he just smothers me, and he's so busy. I just can't get my own game off, so I don't actually know what I'm doing here. I attempt to put his lapel over his head, just to form, again, some bit of control, and try and stop him probably choking me from the top. So trying to progress as much as I can. Don't particularly like being in stalemates. If I can avoid it, I'm trying to learn. But incredibly humbling experience with people that are more advanced than you. When you think you're getting somewhere, you just get put back to square one. Luke is a good lad. I thoroughly enjoyed the role with him. Both pretty shattered after that. I think that was our third or fourth round, not together, but we'd done in the room that day. And then I get to have a roll with Luke. Right, here we go now with Luke, who's a purple belt, as you can see. Incredibly strong, Luke is. Incredibly nice guy, incredibly helpful. You could just see, he's just letting me just, grab an arm, and, he takes a knee, and just dominates you really from the start of the round to the end of the round. And very little wasted movement is what I noticed with Luke. I tried a little fake, a little throw there, a little sweep, just to try and just get him thinking really. Again, grab his lapel. He said to me, "You can have that." So, he's got options wherever he goes. This is interesting with Luke. So if you notice with Luke, he'll pretty much always have one knee on the floor and one knee up. And I did speak to him about this at the end of the round. So pretty much he said you don't really want to be on your knees. And it's something I'm going to try and implement. So I'm trying to get a De La Riva hook in here, which I establish, but he then just walks round, and we end up in this uncomfortable for me sort of leg entanglement. I'm always a bit dodgy about my legs. I don't particularly like leg locks or ankle locks. I snapped my cruciate ligament a few years ago. It's stronger than ever, but there's always that doubt in your mind about injuries. But the good thing with Luke, he's very experienced. He knows exactly how much pressure to apply to a submission. He doesn't need to go ripping your arm off or your leg off. Once he knows he's got the submission secured, he can just execute it. So I'm trying to pull his grip off now. I'm trying to get my feet free, but he's got a hook in. You can see his leg hooked over his foot, and then he's just applying the pressure, and eventually gets me to tap with the foot that is underneath his arm. There we go. So I'm not even sure which one hurt the most, to be honest with you, but you'll see me have a little tap. There you go. I seem to be vulnerable to leg locks and stuff, but again, good experience to roll with a purple belt. But you'll watch. He's always on a knee, hook on the foot. You'd think that's easy to clear, but it's not. You just walk into another one. Again, trying to establish a grip here, trying to free my leg, but he's just controlling me. Doesn't look like it, but he's just waiting for the opportunity to get his own game off, which he does very quickly here, and I sort of fall into it. I don't really know why, really. We had a little bit of a chuckle about it, but you can see he's fed up. He's fed his hand in for the choke, and then the other one crosses, and I just sort of fall into the choke, really. I'm a bit annoyed with myself there. Yeah, as Luke said, I just fell into it because I knew I'd made the mistake. And again, so I tried to pull him into my guard. The knee was up, so I can't pull him into my guard. Try to establish some sort of De La Riva, which is something I really like doing. But again, he just pulls me across, sweeps the legs to one side, and now he's got knee on belly, and he's kept hold of my arm, and I know what's coming. We're talking about it. The arm bar's on its way. But if you look how composed he is and how gentle he falls into it, because he knows it's inevitable, and he's got no need to potentially injure me just to sort of go reckless. So again, I'm trying to prevent his knee come up, but I don't really know how to deal with it. Trying to put my foot on it. So I've asked him now, and he's explaining, never like that, always one leg up. I'm asking him, should I drop into half guard? He said, yeah, probably. It's probably what he would do. But again, he's in complete control. Incredibly strong. At this point, I'm actually trying to take his back, but again, a little knee bar there. Again, like I said, don't like the knee bars. But something else I'm working on is trying to take people's back from a De La Riva guard, which I'll pull off one day. I hope you enjoyed the sparring footage. As you can see, Lucas is an absolute beast and so difficult to pass his guard. Always so busy, always keeps you thinking, and incredibly tough to sort of get past his knee shields and break that guard and sort of get anything of your own game up and running. But always enjoy rolling with Lucas, and I hope his finger's okay. Sometimes you jar fingers, and hopefully it's all right. And as for Luke, incredibly nice guy, incredibly helpful when you're sparring with him. It's just, at this stage in my progress, it's impossible to virtually, even make any ground against him. He's got 1, 2, 3 different options wherever I go and whatever I do. He's very, very strong, very wide back, very wide legs, incredibly powerful, very experienced, obviously very dedicated to achieve his purple belt. But we get there. I'm often one of the lowest belts in the class, if not the lowest. Maybe me and another white belt are in there, so in the morning classes, which is only going to make me better. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please comment below, give the channel a bit of support, and let me know anything you want to see, and I'll do my best to cover it going forward. See you next time out.